The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway connecting the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea, is one of the world's most critical choke points for oil transit. Roughly 20% of the world's oil and about a third of its liquefied natural gas, LNG, pass through this strait every day, making it essential to the global energy supply. Blocking the Strait of Hormuz, whether through political decisions or military action, could ignite major conflicts, potentially even leading to a situation as dire as World War III. Here's how. The world economy relies heavily on the oil and gas shipped through the Strait of Hormuz. The countries around the Persian Gulf, including Saudi Arabia, Iran, the UAE, Iraq, and Kuwait, are among the top oil and gas producers, collectively providing a significant portion of the world's energy. A blockade would restrict this flow, drastically reducing global oil supplies and causing energy prices to spike dramatically. Countries that are highly dependent on imported oil, like China, Japan, and much of Europe, would be particularly hard hit. The economic consequences would extend far beyond oil prices. Industries reliant on affordable fuel, from manufacturing to transportation, would face higher costs, leading to inflation, supply chain disruptions, and potentially widespread economic downturns. History has shown that when economies are threatened, nations often seek solutions even if they involve military force, which is why a blockade could quickly escalate into a larger conflict involving multiple powerful nations. If the Strait of Hormuz were blocked, multiple powerful nations would have a stake in resolving the situation, each with different motivations. The United States as one of the world's largest oil importers and a global superpower, the US would likely view any blockade as a direct threat to global security and energy stability. The US maintains a strong military presence in the Persian Gulf and has several military bases nearby specifically to protect its interests and those of its allies in the region. China's dependence on Persian Gulf oil is enormous, making stability in the Strait of Hormuz essential to its economic growth and energy security. A major disruption in oil flow would cripple China's industries and economy, possibly prompting China to intervene militarily to secure its interests. European nations Europe also relies heavily on Persian Gulf oil, especially in countries with limited energy resources. European nations, possibly through NATO, could see the blockade as a threat to their energy security, compelling them to participate in international efforts to reopen the strait. Russia, an energy superpower, may see an opportunity in the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. By providing its own oil and gas supplies to Europe and other countries affected by the blockade, Russia could strengthen its influence. However, any potential intervention by Western powers could lead Russia to become directly involved, complicating the situation further. Iran controls the northern side of the Strait of Hormuz and has previously threatened to block it in response to sanctions or other hostile actions. The Iranian government has even conducted naval drills in the strait, showcasing its capabilities. For Iran, the threat to block the strait serves as a powerful tool for exerting pressure on Western nations, especially the United States. If Iran perceives itself as cornered, perhaps due to increasing sanctions or military threats, it could decide to carry out its threats. While the country is likely aware that blocking the strait could provoke severe consequences, it may view this action as a means of pressuring its adversaries to negotiate or ease sanctions. Any attempt by Iran or another entity to block the Strait of Hormuz would almost certainly draw a swift military response. The US and its allies maintain significant naval forces in the region, and a blockade would likely trigger immediate efforts to remove the obstruction. This could lead to direct military engagement between Iran and the US, escalating into a broader regional war. Neighboring countries with vested interests, such as Saudi Arabia and the UAE, might also become involved. A localized conflict could quickly grow, especially if Iran's allies, like Syria or Hezbollah, join the fray, leading to a wider regional war. Additionally, Russia and China, with their interests in the region and support for Iran, could enter the conflict either directly or indirectly, pushing the situation toward a full-scale global conflict. In such a conflict, the world's alliances could become severely strained. NATO members would likely rally behind the United States in defense of the Strait of Hormuz. However, this could provoke a reaction from Iran's allies, particularly Russia and China, both of which could see US-led intervention as an unacceptable display of Western hegemony in a region where they hold interests. If the conflict escalates to a point where these global powers become directly involved, it could easily lead to broader military engagements across various regions. With the world's superpowers potentially on opposing sides, the situation could escalate to a level reminiscent of World War III, involving multiple fronts and conflicts worldwide. The effects of a war involving global powers would not only devastate the involved countries but would have far-reaching economic and humanitarian impacts worldwide. With oil prices skyrocketing and resources diverted to the war effort, global economies could collapse. Food and medical supply chains would be disrupted, causing shortages, inflation, and hardship across the globe. The potential for widespread destruction would also bring humanitarian crises, displacing millions and creating refugee situations in multiple regions. The potential use of advanced weaponry, including cyber warfare, nuclear threats, or even biological warfare, would lead to unprecedented destruction. While a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz could ignite a global conflict, there are also numerous diplomatic channels and mechanisms aimed at preventing such an outcome. The UN Security Council, international diplomatic efforts, and peacekeeping organizations would likely work around the clock to avoid escalation. Historically, the threat of mutually assured destruction has kept global powers from direct conflict, and this could be a significant deterrent. However, in situations where national interests are at risk, particularly energy security, these mechanisms sometimes fail, as nations prioritize their economic and security needs over diplomatic resolutions. Consequently, the hope is that diplomacy would prevail, but there remains a real risk of escalation. The Strait of Hormuz is much more than a narrow stretch of water. It's a critical artery of the global energy economy and a highly sensitive geopolitical hotspot. A blockade there would set off a cascade of reactions that could draw in major world powers, each with its strategic interests, alliances, and readiness to protect their own economic stability. The ripple effects of a blockade could destabilize economies, prompt military alliances to activate, and potentially escalate to a scale reminiscent of global wars. In a world already strained by complex alliances and economic dependencies, the blocking of the Strait of Hormuz stands as a potential flashpoint that could, if mishandled, lead to one of the most serious conflicts in modern history.